Hi, folks. Doyle Dykes here. You know, at the beginning of this pandemic, uh, I had the best spring lined up that I had had in many years, and it was all canceled just like that. It was gone. And I remember waking up early, and I still do, and I had been listening to some scriptures. I had the Bible app on my phone, and so I was listening to scriptures, and so I get my picking in late and I get my praying in early. And so I usually still go to bed pretty late. But that morning, I remember looking at my bedroom window up here. I don't know if you can see that. And I remember looking up on this ledge right here behind me, and there was a little sparrow. And little sparrow he was pecking on something right here. And I looked and I thought, well, that's a worm. And the worm was as long as he was. And he pecked on it a couple of times, and all of a sudden, how he threw that thing up in the air, opened his mouth, and just slid right down his throat. And he just kind of wiggled like that a little bit, and he stood there for a second, and then he just flew off. And God spoke to me. He says, you know, what is the value? I've said to you, what is the value of a sparrow? He said, you could buy 5 sparrows for a couple of pennies. This is in the Bible. And he said, you can buy 5 sparrows for a couple of pennies, and yet your Father cares for every one of them, and he feeds them. How much more valuable are you than birds, a sparrow? And he's going to take care of you. I heard one old preacher say, and I'll probably repeat myself today, but I've just been thinking about it walking out here. And you know, I heard an old preacher say he feeds all the birds of the world every day, but he never drops the food in their nest. And so we have to work at it. And I contacted a pastor a while ago, and I was talking to him about some things, and God spoke to me when I saw that little bird, though, and when that worm slid down, just kind of went down his throat, he just looked so wow, you know. And the Lord said, I'm going to take care of you, and when I do, and when I give you something, he said, I want you to receive it joyfully, just like this little sparrow. And that's the hard part sometimes, you know. But we will be on the receiving end, not just the giving end. It's easier sometimes for me to be on the giving end than the receiving end. And so I've just thought about that today, and I wanted to share that with you. God's going to take care of you, folks, and I believe that. He's going to touch our country, and God knows that there are, you know, there are a lot of problems that we have today and misunderstandings that we have today, and people that aren't just informed of things, I'm sure. And I want to learn more about what's going on in our society that maybe I don't know about. But at the same time, you know, we must believe that the real answer for all of it is the Lord. It's the only true answer. And Jimmy Capps passed away, and I was going to do something the last 2 or 3 days, and I just get upset about it because Jimmy was a dear friend. I prayed with him just a night or two before he went to the hospital again. Prayed with his wife, Michelle, and they are just very dear friends to me. I've known him since way back, and I'll share more about it before I was going to dress up. But you know, the most unpretentious person I've ever met is probably Jimmy Capps. They've asked me to play at the memorial service. And, you know, I was thinking, can I even do that? But, you know, when God gives you a job to do, Grandpa Jones even said, you know, nobody can do it like you. You know, if you are asked to do something, there's no one in the world that can do it better than you because you're the person. An old preacher to me said something very similar to me. And he says, you know, where the appointment is, the provision will be. If God appoints you, he's going to provide you with the confidence and the strength and the anointing to do it. So say a prayer, all that will go well, and I'll be more in touch with you over the weekend. But God bless you, and he's still in control. I promise you that.